Here, this is our fearless leader. Look at him. I mean, where are you right now? Like the desert?
I'm in the desert. No, can you hear me okay?
You look great. You sound great.
I sound okay? All right. I'm driving. I'm driving downtown. This is week 2 of having a newborn right now. Little Charlotte Christy Jane was born January 24th, and your boy's a little tired, Pete. Your boy's a little tired.
Let me ask you this question. This is a real serious question.
Yeah.
Would you like to do this tomorrow?
No, let's go. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready. I've been able to finagle my way out of the house a couple times in the last week and a half, and so I can't waste this one right now. So I'm out. I'm heading to a network. I'm headed to a networking event, but I'm doing the bets because this is the Super Bowl, Pete, and I can't be on the sidelines. I'm in.
Are we able to call Charlotte Charlie?
Well, that's what she's going to be called. That's going to be her name. We were on
guy, Corey.
We love Charlie. I've actually, and this is going to sound weird because normally guys don't think about this kind of stuff, but before I was ever married, and I thought, well, if I have a daughter, I would love to name her Charlie. I just thought that was always so cool, like the kind of the masculine name for a girl. And then when I met my wife and we're starting to talk about kids, and she's like, well, what about a name for a girl? I said that, and Lauren was like, I love that. I want to do that. So, we had other names too, but we went back to Charlotte and call her Charlie. And then,
thought of when I saw that name. I've thought of that myself. Like Charlotte would be a great name because I lived in Charlotte for a while, and then you call her Charlie. Way to go, Corey.
Yeah.
And Lauren.
Yeah, and then Christy was my mom's name, and then Jane was Lauren's grandma's name. So we kind of gave her a little hyphenated middle name there. But yeah, man, it's good stuff, Pete. Good stuff.
Like you're really happy, riding high over there.
It's the lack of sleep, Pete. It's the delusional. I'm glad that I've had things to watch on Sports Center the last few nights at like 4:00 in the morning. I feel like I'm probably the most versed Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers person that there is right now because that's all I've been into for 3 days here. But then
you just killed Scotty's dog again. He's just
oh no, not Scotty's dog.
Yeah.
Not Luka.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm ready for some Super Bowl.
All right,
I have a good read on it.
I want to hear your read on it. I want to hear your number one top of the line bet. What's the bet you stop thinking about?
What's the number one bet? Okay, if you had to put, I have a list here of things, but I wasn't thinking. Number one, I think Patrick Mahomes, he's getting about even money for 2 touchdowns, throwing 2 touchdowns in this game, and he's going to throw 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Eagles win it based on this defense or whatever. So that's, if you had to just put money on one little prop bet that could give you about even money, I would go Mahomes over 2 touchdowns in this game.
I like that. And as an Eagles fan, I can still bet that and cheer on my Eagles.
Yeah. So let me kind of run down some things.
Okay, all right, let's go.
So I think one thing to consider, and if you've been watching Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in any of these playoff runs, Super Bowl runs, he likes to scramble in the playoffs. It's not something he does in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he constantly is running the ball because the defense gives him that and he takes it. And so there's a prop. It's like 25 yards or more plus 100 for Mahomes rushing. I would smash that. If you want to get a little wily and go 40 yards, you can get like plus 300. He's gonna get rushing yards in this game. So hit Patrick Mahomes rushing yards in the Super Bowl. And then obviously Jalen Hurts. I think he gets about even money at 40 yards. Hit that too, because Jalen's going to be running in this game. So rushing yards for sure, Pete.
Great running the football against Washington too, and that was 2 weeks ago. Like no more worries about his lower body stuff.
Yeah, no, these guys know they have all offseason to rest up. So they're not being cautious. And I think the Chiefs are the number one team for that, about being cautious during the regular season. And I think the Eagles were too, because of their the veteran team they have. So, but the Super Bowl, they throw it all out. Throw the kitchen sink out. They're going to run the game. They're going to run the ball. Okay, I'm going to give you some touchdown ones. Obviously, we got to take Saquon. You're getting minus 165 on your money there. So, if you bet $165, you only win 100. But he's going to get a touchdown. It's in the it's so has been written and so it's been said, Pete. Saquon Barkley will get a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It's been his year, and he's going to do that. Travis Kelce, he's going to get one too. It wasn't as we had predicted. I had predicted a little bit more in the AFC Championship game for Kelce. Didn't really come through, but it's the Super Bowl, and he will get a touchdown in this game. And he's at like plus 165. So you still get some good odds there with Kelce. And Pete, look, I made it to a parking spot. I don't have to do this while driving. Okay.
Well, I was going to give you credit. You look like, you're making this look easy, and you look very happy, and so it's very convincing. You're like one of those pyramid salesmen. Like, I'm all in.
I'm come on, Pete. Just give me 10 contacts. Who are 10 of your friends? Let's call them up right now. I feel like I ask you that when I'm like, let's get some good interviews, Pete. Just call 10 people.
We had a guy at Richmond on the football team. I think he went to prison for that shit.
Hey, you know who I actually look like right now is Mosley. Is Matt Mosley with his glasses on. That's more what I look like.
By the way, real quick, while I have you, I don't know if you saw the show. I started by saying I was at Medea last night, which is in Flower Mound. And who saunters into the restaurant with his wife? Ed Werder.
Oh, no. Ed Werder was there.
I didn't say anything to him because I'm like worried he's a grump the dump.
You should have.
I want to stay out of his way. And then I didn't want to Mosley because then Mosley would have texted him and made it awkward.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ed was, Ed did 2 great episodes for us for Doomsday in January, talking about McCarthy and then Schottenheimer. And so I think Ed, Pete, for Rogue Media, Ed's like a Corvette or like a Lamborghini. We got to put Ed back in the garage, and then we'll bring Ed back out when needed. But he's not like a truck or like a Honda Civic. Ed is your Lamborghini. So Rogue Media, we keep Ed in the garage for a little bit.
All right, that's a pick. Scotty's dying.
Okay, my long odds on a touchdown score. Justin Watson for the Chiefs, plus 1,300. And Justin Watson is a sneaky security blanket for Mahomes. And he always seems to get open. He got open in the AFC Championship game. He can get to the back of the end zone. He's not the first read or the second read or even the third read, but he gets open, Pete. So if you want to take a flyer on a guy, plus 1,300, Justin Watson to score a touchdown in this game. Okay, I got 2 kind of fun ones. These are both plus 600. Okay, so these are a little bit longer odds, but I'll give you both of them, and maybe you put money on both. But you basically have to pick who's going to have the most passing yards, rushing yards, and receiving yards. You got to get them all. You got to get them all right. Okay. The first one, well, they both have to do with Mahomes.
So I'm going to say Mahomes, Barkley, and who's the receiver?
Mahomes, Barkley. You can get Kelce. That was the first one. Mahomes, Kelce, and Barkley. And I think that's the one, if the Chiefs are losing or lose the game, you hit that one because that tells me Barkley went crazy and Mahomes went to Kelce to try to catch up. So that's what that tells me. The other one is still Mahomes, but you get A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley. That one makes me feel like the Pats. Sorry, Cam Stewart. The Chiefs are probably winning, and A.J. Brown is being used to catch up. But I think those 2 combos could be, and either team could be winning or losing, and I think you could get that combination. So you got Mahomes and Barkley as your like locked in passing and rushing guys, and then give me Kelce and give me Brown as your alternate receiving dudes.
And I think that's where you kind of dance with the devil a little bit. Those first 2 I love, and then it's just a matter of where are you going to find your receiving yards on that bet.
Yeah, I think Devonta Smith, you could predict as he has, those 60-yard touchdown scores. He could sneak in there with some bombs, but I don't think the Chiefs Marquise Brown, he's not going to probably break out for a big game. Like I just don't think anybody else on that team from a receiving perspective in a Super Bowl would be above Kelsey.
Okay.
I have to say this one because this one almost hit in the NFC Championship game, and that was my fun field goal touchdown for each team in each half. Do you remember that one, Pete?
Oh, I do. Yeah, and
okay.
I was thinking about it too.
It was very close. If the Commanders had been able to play any sort of defense and force the Eagles to kick a field goal, we would have hit it. But the Eagles just kept scoring, so touchdowns, which was unfortunate. But give me that in this game, plus $1,700. $100 down wins you $1,700.
Wow!
I think it can happen. It can happen in this game because field goal kicking in the Super Bowl is more of a thing. Teams are a little bit more hesitant. I don't know about your coach. He maybe will roll the dice a few times, meaning the Philadelphia Eagles. So. Yeah. But I like that one, Pete, and I think if I click on to look at my thing one more time on my phone, you lose the video feed to me. But I think that was all of them that I had that I really liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna type these up and we're gonna share the graphic again tomorrow because we got Dave Steckel from ESPN coming on, and he's gonna break down the whole game. And we'll introduce these bets once again. Because I think now it's tough for me because I'm an Eagles fan. So some of the things that you talked about are Chiefs specific. So it's scary for me. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. The pick. If you remember, we had our old show, Odds Are.
Yeah.
Do you remember this, Pete? And it was a big hit. We almost got picked up by ESPN. It was a big time show. And
kicked out. Yeah.
Yes. And we had Super Bowl props. This is the first Super Bowl that the Chiefs and the Eagles played.
Lest anyone think that Corey and I don't roll the dice, we were like literally taking over this studio, talking about gambling in Texas on a local like CBS affiliate, and they were like, "We can't talk about gambling anymore." And I was like, "Well, how about we just give a disclaimer at the beginning?" And they were like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah. So Pete, you started to read the disclaimer. Yeah, I love our target audience was like 55 to 80-year-old Central Texans who have probably never stepped into a sports book in their life, but actually got engaged with our show a little bit. So yeah. But it was the first Super Bowl these teams met, and I was heavy Eagles. My heart was broken. My wife was giving me a hard time because she picked the Chiefs. You remember Patrick Mahomes had got that high ankle sprain?
Oh, I remember.
You remember that? And I thought, oh, the Chiefs or the Eagles will get after it. And then, anyway, this is redemption. I know Scotty's sitting there, picked the Chiefs. This has to be the Eagles' time. I think there's like a bad juju when a team is trying to three-peat. And there's a reason why it's never been done. And this is a rematch from 2 years ago. I just think the Eagles get it done. They have enough to get over the hump here, and they win the game. I'm going to say 28-26. It's going to be a weird score. Give me Eagles over Chiefs.
I love you applied history to this because that is the best point you've made all segment, and you've made good ones. Nobody's ever done it before. And we're talking about, 50-something years of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And that is a very good point. Like you're betting on history.
You're betting on history.
You're really, regardless of what the odds are, you're taking the odds. That's why this is so hard to do.
Yeah.
Because nobody's ever done it.
And I think you can apply it here. There's sometimes I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head where people will use that and be like, well, remember 25 years ago it didn't happen. And it's like, well, it's so different now, right? Like, if you told me the Chiefs and the Patriots, I'm going to keep saying it. The Chiefs and the Eagles played 20 years ago and now they're rematch and the Eagles are upset. That doesn't matter. None of those players were there before. But so many of these people in this game were in that game, specifically quarterback. And I think there is they don't want to let this one slip away again because you remember how that game ended, Pete, right? Remember that pass interference? Oh, it was bogus. Like bogus.
It
So
was the best thing. My favorite thing I've ever heard Greg Olson say. Oh, I don't know. He did not like the call. I was like, no shit.
yeah, it wasn't a good call. So anyway, I think Eagles come in. They win it by 1.5. They cover the spread, and they walk out Super Bowl champs. They get it done, Pete. And you're going back to Philadelphia for the parade. You're running around with your shirt off. It'll be great. I'm excited.
Corey Dickman, there we have it. We cannot thank you enough for spending time with us today. All in bets all season long. We're about to shift to basketball, so don't worry about it. But the bonanza continues Super Bowl week. Again, we'll post these up tomorrow. Corey, there's one. I need your help with Google Ads.
Sure.
We'll talk more about it later, but they banned me for some reason. I'm suspended, so I'm trying to get back on.
You're suspended. Did you do something bad?
No, I don't know. I didn't do anything bad.
All right, we'll check. We'll look into it.
Check it out. All right, okay. Corey, there he is. Thanks, brother. One last thing before we end the show. So I talked yesterday about the Cam show starting up. It's like it's some listeners' worst nightmares, right? Me and Cam colliding together at the same time. So I called Brendan Howson from Kansas State, the armadillo assassin, even though he's from Amarillo. So that got traction online, and people were kind of coming up with all these amazing AI-generated stuff we showed you yesterday. So then I'm like, well, okay, that was a lot of fun, but looks like it's over. And then last night, when I landed back in Dallas, I turned on my phone. And thanks to the Kansas State basketball social media team, they put together a whole montage and a video to the George Strait song with my voice laying over, calling Brendan Howson the wrong nickname. And that, just about like 50,000 people checking that out and retweeting the shit out of it. So thanks to Kansas State for that. And then this morning, I'm trying to lean in. The guys from the Big 12 radio show, Tune In, they called me and we talked about it. And it was a very funny conversation with Ari Temkin and James Westling, my buddies. We had a couple good laughs. So always having fun over here. Yuck. All right, Dave Steckel tomorrow. Again, we'll reshare Corey's bets. So if you didn't catch him today, make sure you join us tomorrow. We'll get them set for you just in time for the Super Bowl. And yeah, man, Scotty Swingler, Corey Dickman, Zach Burke, Pete Souza, the Pete Souza Show presented by Slovacics. Oh, by the way, thanks, Brian Bosworth, right? We got some Boz sound tomorrow, too. Tell you who Boz wants to win the Super Bowl. And boy, he is passionate about his pick. We'll see you tomorrow. It's the Pete Souza Show.